Getting lean often involves tracking calories or macros or everything you put in your mouth. And yes, that does help, but that can be quite a challenge. Look, we're going to list habit hacks, things you can do that have nothing to do with the calories or tracking anything that typically result in fat loss. Oftentimes, in fact, these are more effective than the tracking itself for many people. We're going to break them down right now.
This is the ninja method.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
Knock the first one out real quick because I feel like we talked to this one like crazy.
Yeah, we'll get rid of this first one first because we talk about it all the time. That's just not eating ultra-processed foods. So real fast.
We should have a button for that.
Yes. Here's why you do that. Ultra-processed foods are engineered to make you overeat. So when you simply avoid them and then eat as much as you want, that's the other part of this, by the way, eat as much as you want, your calories tend to drop by about 500. That's what they typically find in studies. So you now have a lower calorie diet, even though you're eating as much as you want, and all you did was avoid foods that come in boxes or wrappers.
Yeah, you're also, I think it's important that people understand that there's a psychological benefit to that also. Because when you give people the permission to kind of eat more if you want to eat more, so long as you stay with whole foods, there's this like, oh, I don't have to restrict feeling, which I think also results in more success too.
That's right.
So it isn't just simply that, processed foods make us eat more and they tend to be calorie dense, but whole foods fill you up. And then also the psychological part of telling yourself like, oh, I can eat anytime I'm hungry. I don't have to restrict, allow myself to eat, just have to make whole food choices. And it's amazing what happens.
That's right. So if you look at food, if you think of food as having potential addictive qualities, processed foods take those addictive qualities and amplify them tremendously. So the odds that you'll overeat when you eat ultra-processed foods goes through the roof. It's very difficult to eat an appropriate amount of calories if your diet is, like most people's diets, about 70 to 80% ultra-processed foods. So, and by the way, just not to hammer this one, but just a little bit more on it, this first one that we just said, towards the back half of my career, is all I did.
Yeah.
Because it's very difficult when you're taking the average person and you're trying to get them to adopt a healthier lifestyle. There's 1,000,001 different things we can do. And so what you're always looking for as a trainer is, what's the one thing I can do that's going to have a big impact that people can tend to stick to? And it was this one. And this one, for a lot of my clients, this is all we did.
Well, there's so many behaviors attached to that. Like, you have to actually prepare your food. You have to think ahead of time. Like, you have to, if you're going to have food throughout the day that's a whole food, you actually have to prepare it and like set yourself up for success. So it just builds in those type of behaviors.
That's right.
It trumps the other 7 or 8 you have on this list too.
That's true.
If you do this one, the rest
biggest impact.
Yeah, is better than all the other one. And if you don't do that, then all these other ones become even more important to try and include that. But just simply getting rid of the processed foods.
In fact, all the ones that we're going to talk about are made to be able to be done together. And you'll see as we go through them, you can actually stack them all together quite easily, and it'll result in, for 90% of people watching this, significant, consistent fat loss. Here's the next one. When you eat, don't eat while you're distracted. So don't eat in front of the TV, or in front of your phone. Actually just sit down and eat your food. Now here's what the data shows. When people do this, they automatically reduce their calories by about 10 to 15%. Automatically. So literally they'll tell people, here's a meal, watch the TV while you eat it, that we have the show on or whatever, or here's your phone, or you're in a room by yourself and you eat, and they monitor. And people go until they're satisfied. So there's no stop eating or just eat until you're satisfied. 10 to 15% less calories, simply because they're not distracted. The other part of this is people will eat between 20 to 30% faster when they're distracted.
Yeah.
So the speed at which you eat and the amount that you eat are different because you're disconnected from your body's signals of satiety. You actually read them late. By the time you get the signal that you're satisfied, you're beyond satisfied because you're distracting yourself with whatever you're watching.
I mean, this happens so much with clients that we're always like kind of on the move, and they got to get in the car, they got to hustle, they got to grab whatever they can, and it's just this, really quick eating where it's just they don't really have those signals that they can pay attention to whether they're full or not. It's just they got to get it in.
Well, I mean, have you ever sat down at the table or counter with no phone and no TV and ate popcorn or chips?
Yeah.
All of a sudden the bag's
I'm
gone.
envisioning that right now. That looks weird.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like, if you walked in, right? If you walked in the house and Justin was just sitting at the
table
counter
eating a bowl of
by
popcorn,
himself, like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah,
dude?
it would look weird. So it doesn't.
You have to really love popcorn.
Yeah, you
to eat
would.
it like
That's
that.
why, again, I like this is more kind of strategies how we would talk to clients that didn't want to track calories or had a hard thing. It's
That's
like,
right.
I'm not going to tell my client, no, you can't have popcorn. No, you can't have chips. Just do it without watching TV or your phone and watch what happens. You'd be surprised how much you decide, like, man, that bowl of popcorn doesn't even sound good sitting at the table.
And there's more science that goes into this. So we talked about the disconnection part, but if we go deeper, typically when you're consuming entertainment or media, that media is usually it's trying to induce a feeling. Otherwise, you wouldn't be looking at it. Whether that feeling be excitement or anger or fear or whatever.
Stress.
You're not looking at it if it's as boring as looking at nothing, you wouldn't look at it, right? So it's inducing a feeling. So you're connecting to a different feeling while you're consuming food, and you're actually strengthening a relationship with food that is undesirable. So
Do
let's
they
say
have
you're
a study for that with which emotion evokes the most hunger?
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Would like a stressful, scary movie make you
Yeah,
eat
I would
more, or
imagine.
would a
And then you
happy like sport movie make you celebrate and eat more?
Even more importantly, let's say you eat while you're stressed because you're reading the news or politics. What that may strengthen inside of you, the neural networks may connect that say, when you're stressed, this is what you do. So then in real life, you're stressed at work, you're stressed with your spouse, you're stressed with your kids. Yeah. You have a stronger desire to self-medicate with food because you've already strengthened that network through looking at media while you're eating. So bad across the board. Yeah. Next up, regardless of what you're eating, eat the protein first. This one's an easy one. We've talked about this many times.
Yep.
Protein has the highest satiety effect. When you look at the three macronutrients, proteins, fats, and carbs, second will be fat. It's actually a distant second. And then third is carbohydrates. So eating protein first tends to result in eating less calories overall. There's also an insulin sensitizing effect. Blood sugar kind of stabilizing effect that comes from eating protein first. By the way, make sure it's a decent amount of protein. 30 grams would be kind of the minimum. And this, by the way, this and the first one we said, not eating processed foods, eating protein first, this was like you're 90% of the way there when I would train clients. Just these two right here without having to track or do anything else.
Agreed.
Yep. Next up, not drinking any fluids, including water, while you're eating.
This is a cool hack that we picked up when we talked to Paul Check.
Was it a tough one to do? Actually.
It was Paul Check. I think when we started talking about this.
He might have been the one to bring it up.
I think it was him who brought it up first. I don't remember. I remember it was around that time that we were talking to him, and I had never tried that before. And I was really fascinated by how well this worked. What I found it does more than anything else is it slows my eating down and forces me to chew my food more.
That's right.
Because what we all, not all, I mean, I'm the overgeneralization. A lot of people tend to shove food in your mouth, and before you even finish chewing it, you're washing it down with a drink. And so that just speeds up how fast you eat, and it's not ideal for digestion. And so simply having no liquid to swallow down forces you to kind of sit there and chew 15, 20 more bites, and that alone ends up reducing the calories.
It made me realize I took way too big of bites. I was like choking, I hated this. I was like trying to force myself to not drink with eating, and it was like, oh wow, I got to eat a lot smaller bites.
You mentioned digestion. This is actually for people who have issues with like bloating or digestive issues after meals. This may be kind of a first line of defense because fluid dilutes the digestive enzymes in the gut. Also, chewing is the first part of digestion. The smaller the pieces become when you chew them, the easier they are to break down by the gut, throughout the body. So chewing your food regular, like a lot of it, and allowing your saliva to do the work actually helps a lot of people with digestive issues.
Okay, Doug just pulled out the impact of drinking while eating on digestion. Is actually a debated topic. I know the arguments for not to. What are the arguments for that are favorable? Well, hydration, that's silly. You can get hydrated all day. Improve.
No.
Better absorption. Drinking water can help break down but chewing would break it down even more. So that's a terrible argument too. Reduced drinking water can help. No.
Nope.
Okay, so here's a strategy then. If to counter all the few arguments I said, is pound a glass of water before you sit down and eat.
Yeah, if you want to get all that.
Exactly, and then you takes care of the hydration argument, and it takes care of the feeling full sooner. Like there's the two biggest arguments.
The only people I would be like, yeah, we should drink while you eat are people who chronically underdrink water. in which case there's
and
better
even then, I
strategy.
still like the advice of before you sit down and eat, you need to have a full glass of water and then have your meal.
That's right.
And then that would still solve that.
But it makes a big difference for digestion. It slows you down. In studies on this particular subject, you tend to see, again, 10%, about a 10% reduction in calories, just because somebody, by the way, as trainers are the worst at that one, because when you have 6 to 8 clients in a day, and you got to eat in between
small
clients,
windows of eating.
you have 5 to 10 minutes. And so I would go in the back. I was notorious for this. In my studio, I have a little kitchen in the back, and I'd have my meal ready to go. One client's walking out the door, someone's walking in. I'm like, all right, go ahead and get started foam rolling. I'll be right back. I'd go in the back, microwave my food, and I'd take 2 bites and wash it down. It was like I was taking supplements.
I mean, I would probably add any hard gainer into that argument too. I think that's
because you learn how to do that.
Yeah, because you kind of learned when you're a hard gainer and you've been forcing food down, you kind of learn to take bites and then wash it down as an easier way to get it down. And so I would add them to that category.
Today's program giveaway is Maps Aesthetic. If you want to win, leave a comment below this video in the first 24 hours that we drop this on YouTube. Also, subscribe to this channel. Turn on notifications, do all of those things, and if you win, we'll let you know in the comments section. Also, try out our free quiz, musclemommymovement.com/quiz. If you're a woman who wants to build muscle and strength, fill out the quiz, see which avatar you fit under. Are you a comeback queen, an efficient powerhouse, a strength novice, or a lifestyle integrator? Get some advice based on your avatar. Again, it's free. One more time, musclemommymovement.com/quiz. Back to the show.
All right, real quick. If you love us like we love you, why not show it by rocking one of our shirts, hats, mugs, or training gear over at mypumpstore.com. I'm talking right now. Hit pause, head on over to mypumpstore.com. That's it. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Here's another one. This one sounds silly, but again, the studies on this are pretty interesting. Put your fork or your spoon down between bites. So you take a bite, put the spoon down to the fork, chew your food, and then pick it up. It's literally just slowing the process down. By the way, when you do this one, as silly as it sounds, you'll start to realize, you'll get impatient is what'll happen. If you get impatient, you know you eat too fast.
Yeah, I think this is the same as the 35 chew rule or whatever like that. Like chew your food 35 times before you take the next bite. I think that it's basically trying to do the same thing without you counting your chews.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's just a simple strategy.
You
And
sit
it's a
at the
habit.
restaurant for like 3 hours. That's ridiculous.
Jeez.
As I actually think that chewing and counting is a better one than this because you know how ridiculous you would look like this. Set, pick up.
Yeah. Well, you guys aren't selling
Okay,
this
here
one
we
very
go.
well.
I'm sorry. What?
I mean,
trying to
it's
give people
probably
easy-
effective.
But I just want to share with the logic. The logic is actually getting more chews in.
That's right.
That's really what it is.
and
It's actually
it's-
less to do because there's no science that supports the putting
what
the fork
happens-
down. It's that it adds time.
What's observed in the studies is that
Yes.
and people will do this. They'll,
Speed is a problem.
that's right, because this is what it looks like for a lot of people. You'll take a bite,
and you're already getting
and
the
you've
next
got
bite.
the next bite on the
you're
spoon
still
or the fork.
chewing, yeah.
And so what happens is neurologically, you're anticipating the next bite, and this speeds up the process even more.
Yeah.
Because you're not thinking about what's in your mouth, think about what you're about to get in your mouth.
Yeah.
And this is what it feels like if you've gone through this is binging, where you can't eat fast enough, even though you have food in your mouth. You're not even thinking about what's in there. You're thinking about, can I get the next one?
The next thing, yeah.
That's
And
right.
everybody's experience is if you ever had a piece of cake or anything that's a dessert like that. Because
I
you
like
do
how you
that.
always bring up cake.
He's always fighting for everybody
You
else
are.
trying to
I
steal
mean,
it.
you're chewing on it. You're already like carving the next piece out. You know what I'm
You're
saying?
the only time I've ever seen a grown man buy a cake for himself.
What's your favorite? Is it the corner piece or is it middle?
Oh, corner piece for sure. Yeah.
All
You
the
want-
frosting.
all the extra frosting
Oh
or
my
whatever.
God.
I feel you
there,
on
so,
that.
yeah.
Here's another one. Walk right after you eat. So this has a pretty significant impact on blood sugar and stabilization, which affects later behaviors. So the less your blood sugar goes up and down, the less likely you are to have cravings, irritability, search for that quick fix with food. And it's literally a 10-minute walk. In fact, there was a study where people didn't even walk. They literally just sat down, they ate, and all they did was lift their heels. So they kind of pointed their toes. I mean, it's like the most ridiculous exercise of all time. And they saw a significant reduction in blood sugar. Just because of the contraction, relaxing of muscles causes them to suck up all that blood sugar.
I know this is about fat loss, but I find this such a cool hack for couples. Using that as time to like connect. I remember when we first started kind of talking about this as a tip for people, and Katrina and I were practicing that. We found that putting our phone away and just the walking afterwards, that we were initially doing it for the movement, digestion, and for the purpose of what we're talking about. I found, oh, wow, this became like this guaranteed time that we'd always be connecting without our phones and any distractions, which the benefits of that for my relationship are incredible. And we know that how important relationships are in the overall health journey. And so I would add this as like just this like double whammy of a hack. Like if I'm looking at, I'm going to do a couple of these, this one's going to be one of my top ones for that reason too.
Right. Next up, this one is actually, it's very powerful, but it's actually very difficult. And we'll talk about why, but it's to pause before you eat, and you can either pray or reflect before you have the meal. So what you're doing is you're trying to reflect on the intention, what you want for your body, what you want for your health. Now, if you're praying, you're obviously praying and giving thanks. And what this does, if we take the supernatural out of it, what this does is it brings awareness. Now, here's why it's difficult. Oftentimes people don't want this awareness. I've had clients where I told them, hey, before you eat, I want you to pause. And then they come back to me, it's like, I hate doing that. Yeah. And I'll say, why? Because then I don't eat, or I feel bad about what I'm about to do. And it's like, well, this is the initial phase of awareness. And oftentimes we want to be not aware of the habit that we're doing, or we want to kind of somewhat disconnect because we know it doesn't feel good.
Well, it also calms down your nervous system and brings you into more parasympathetic, which is where you want to be when you're about to eat.
Yeah, I used to tell my clients to do this. Before you eat, doesn't matter what you eat, pause and write down what you want out of this meal and what your ultimate goals are for yourself health-wise.
Yeah.
And that's tough to do before eating a bowl of chips.
This is really, this is really powerful just purely from the awareness standpoint. I mean, I think I had a lot of clients that really believed they were really good eaters, and until we started tracking and logging, they were just unaware. We do a lot of things kind of mindlessly, whether it be grabbing a handful of nuts or the extra bite or the second serving or the extra sauce on it, and just stopping like that and taking a moment just helps the awareness piece, and I think that has a tremendous amount of value.
Right, and then next up, install or create a barrier between you and a bad habit. So identify what your bad habit is.
Don't bring it in the house.
Yes, that's the ultimate barrier, right? So like potato chips for me is kryptonite, like 100%. If it's in the house, I'm going to eat it. So I don't keep them in the house. And if I want chips, I'll buy a single serving. I'll make myself go and buy the single serving. But the barrier is I got to go buy it.
The easiest thing to keep me away from eating ice cream like I love so much is not ordering it, because there's many times where I crave it, but it's like, oh, I got to go get it or DoorDash it. They go through the hassle. It's not going to be here for 30 minutes.
And sometimes you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. But
more often than not.
More often than not, I don't for that simple reason. Whereas if I regularly ordered it every time we went grocery shopping, I always was putting a thing of ice cream in there. I'm eating it every single time.
That's right. Yeah, I had clients with this where, because it can be any barrier. So I had clients where I'd say, before you eat, because they would say, well, I have them in the house for guests, or because that was always the first one, right? Is don't have it in the house. Well, I have it for guests, or I have it for this. And I say, okay, when you want to eat it, set a timer on your phone for 15 minutes and just wait 15 minutes. And it actually, it cut the amount of times that they would go and actually get that food by like 30 to 50%.
Yeah.
With most people, just the 15-minute wait. And some people get mad with the 15-minute wait because but I want it now. It's like, all you got to do is say, I can have it. I just got to wait 15 minutes. And it was just a barrier.
I remember a lot of clients justifying it for their kids, where they'd say like, oh, I have it in the house for my kids. I'm like, even more reason for you to not do this is like you're now just creating the
inside my belly.
Well, these kids honestly, that was top. I think that was one of the top excuses for why those things made in the house. It's like, wait a second. It's like, here you are trying to create a new healthy lifestyle for yourself. Your justification of why you have those treats in there is because you have kids and maybe they're not overweight right now, but it's like, that's such a terrible idea. Is one, it's a temptation for you. And two, you're already creating bad habits for them. So later on, they're going to have the same struggle you have right now. So it's like, may as well get the whole family on board right now.
Yeah, totally. All right. I got a cool study on isometrics, Justin.
What?
That you're going to like.
New or just recently came across it?
So I'm going to pull it up because there was a link to the study. So I want to be clear on how I quote it. But this particular study it's the effects of long muscle length isometrics versus full range of motion training on regional quadriceps hypertrophy. So, and this is in advanced. This is people who lift weights.
It's like in range versus
stretch,
full range.
the stretch range. So it was a full isometric contraction to what's it called? Is it called yielding or non-yielding?
Which one?
The one where you're pushing and it's not moving.
Where you're overcoming?
Overcoming.
Yeah.
Overcoming. So it's in a lengthened position. So for the quads, they were in a leg extension, but it was at the bottom before you fully extend. And they were driving into the pad and it was too heavy to move. and they do it for the same time under tension that the other subjects did for the full range of motion. So 30 seconds. It was a 30-second,
Gotcha.
contraction versus 30 seconds of full range of motion. In the study, what they found was both built the same amount of muscle.
Interesting.
Same amount of muscle. Now,
That's
This,
crazy.
remember, it's in the short term.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's a 6-week period of time. Now, if you extend it out, the full range of motion, I would bet my bottom dollar would outperform it. Plus, it's more functional. But what's the benefit of this for people?
Rehab.
Safety.
Safe.
Yeah.
It is safe and it is different.
Yeah.
If you're like, if you've
Novel
been working,
stimulus.
oh man, if you've been working out for a while, just do 3 weeks of this and watch what happens to your body.
Well, this is why I always like to revisit it, because I understand like it's pretty monotonous to do a full workout of isometrics is kind of brutal. But the benefits just speak for themselves all the time. And it's like, if you ever feel like you're in a rut, that's always something to kind of bring into the mix.
Yeah.
You know where I use this a lot because I rarely train calves. Such a waste of time to spend time training calves. But I will do isometrics in the shower all the time.
Yeah.
It's like it's been a while since I've hit them. Like that's what I'll do, and I swear I see in a short period of
Did
time.
Trina ever walk in and go, "What are you doing?"
I'm just holding. I'm just on my tippy toe. I just hold and contract really hard. I do 5 times.
Put your soap up at the very top.
Five times. Make fun of me all you want, but I know there's a ton of people that do not spend a lot of time training their calves. You probably should do some of this. Yeah. I don't think you've trained calves since like 1985.
They're too big.
Yeah,
dude.
no, I just do jump ropes.
So-
Can't put his pants on.
I don't need to do
Try
that.
if you're listening and you've never tried it. Try that. Just
These
watch
were
it.
lengthened.
It's an easy thing to start with too. You're in there. Everyone takes a shower every day. It's like simple. Add that in your routine. Watch the difference in your calves in just a short period
Now,
of time.
these were lengthened isometrics, though, right? So this would be like being at the bottom of a stretch with your calves.
What's it on the other side then? In
Less.
Is it?
Yes. The growth, the hypertrophy we see from isometrics is better at the lengthened part than it is. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't all build muscle. And by the way, isometrics in the shortened position.
Because of the tension of it being in its elongated form?
Yes. Now, I will say this. Shortened isometrics are valuable if you have trouble connecting to a muscle.
Yeah.
So if you're like, I can't feel my glutes, do them in the shortened position, you'll feel them. Trying to get them to feel in the stretch can be very difficult.
Which is why I started doing the calf thing, because I know that's a reason for something to get underdeveloped is because the lack of connection there and trying to get better connected. I saw great benefits from that. I'm trying to think how I would need to be able to
You'd have
be
to
in a
stand on something.
Yeah, or like on a 2x4 or something like that, and then have to hold something to keep myself.
No, you would drive into, so you get into a
No,
weight
you get
set.
in a full stretch, and then I'm saying like you would hold from keeping me from going up.
Yeah, but it's not holding, it's you're driving, but the weight is so heavy you can't
No,
move
no,
it.
I know. You're driving with your calves, but I'm holding my body still
on
from
something.
Yeah, I'm
I see what you're
resisting.
saying.
Yeah, I'm resisting the driving. I'm trying to think of how I could. It'd be more difficult. to do
I
that
tell you, man,
in the
if
shower.
you're listening to this and you're like super into strength training and you want to experiment with this, I would love to hear someone's results. Like just do it for 3 weeks. Do it for 3 weeks. Try this on. You don't even have to try it on every body part, but try it on some body parts where you're just doing this kind of lengthened isometric for 30 seconds. 30-second drive. Do a few sets of that instead of traditional exercise, and then report back. What you get from it. But the safety is what's amazing with this, and it's different. It's a different
I
stimulus.
wish somebody would come up with like a stick or something.
No,
to go with
Justin,
this.
it's too late, bro. Too late. Every time I bring up one of these
Yeah,
studies,
you know how painful it's going to be though when somebody when Nike or someone makes it and it goes like super famous.
He
It becomes
crushes.
it becomes the next tool or whatever.
All right, I got another study on artificial
Just crawl in the
sweeteners.
hole.
I'll read to you guys what the study showed, and I want you guys to speculate on what's possibly going on. So the title of the study, this is what sucks about our news articles, is they don't break down the study. People will look at the article title, and then they'll make their assumptions. It says, now they tried to be responsible here, but I know people will assume. It says, artificial sugar alternatives may make your brain age faster. Study found. So people who consume the highest amount of sweeteners commonly found in low-calorie drinks and desserts experienced cognitive decline 62% faster than those who consumed the lowest amounts of those sweeteners.
Well, I don't need any of that.
Yeah.
Oof.
Well. So what do you think is going on here? Now, keep in mind they just tracked a bunch of people for, let me see how long.
Yeah, what are the things that are correlated to that?
That's right. Yeah, they tracked. They analyzed 13,000 adults. I don't know how many years. But here's the problem with this. There's no real controls.
Yeah.
And people who consume the most now I'm not defending artificial sweeteners. There may be something there. But people who consume the most artificial sweeteners also tend to have the worst diets. That's just a fact. People who have the most of these typically tend to have the worst diets. And in that category of people who consume lots of artificial sweeteners are people with diabetes. So what you may be looking at are terrible diets, diabetes, both of which are associated with cognitive decline. Yeah. So it's important when you read studies to
tease that type of stuff.
That kind of stuff out because.
Did you ever hear back from our buddy Lane on the study that you sent over to him?
Oh, for processed food?
Yeah. No. Oh, I really was looking forward to hearing back from that.
No, I haven't. I think more people should reach out to him because he likes to debunk things once they get to it.
Well, if I know Lane, he definitely would go and read it, and he'll eventually make a video probably on it. But since we have the shortcut to him,
Lane, the thing I appreciate about Lane is that he goes deep.
Yeah.
So he doesn't just jump. Yeah. He goes in and he literally breaks things down. And sometimes, and I've seen this before. He's sent me before the work that he's done on one particular study, and it's like he spent 8 hours trying to break something down, which I appreciate.
Yeah, totally.
That's why
isn't that he has a like a paid group that he does, and isn't that what he does in that group? I think that's what he does.
Oh, where he breaks down studies.
Yeah, I think that's the main. Like, if you really like that stuff, I think that's something that he does a lot of stuff on his Instagram that's free, but I think he like. Every week or something, he has like a new study that he does like a full deep dive, and like people that really want to get nerdy about it. So
yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised that you're not in that. I would have thought for sure you would take advantage of that.
No, I just text him. Yeah. He's my friend.
You're too short.
I just annoy him. Text him. He gets mad sometimes. I'll send him a text. Oh, I'm busy right now. I can't reply to this. All right, bro.
Hey, speaking of our friends, I know that last week we had our friends Tom and Ben, and you stayed.
Oh, Rock Recovery.
Yeah. And then I heard that you went and did dinner. They come to your house?
No, I invited them over.
Okay.
They're
you're so social now.
No, well, so Real Recovery Talk.
He had like no friends like 3 years ago. Now he's got hella friends.
All isolated.
I had just you guys. I don't like you guys anymore. I want you no, that's not it. Real Recovery
Justin's
Talk
not godly enough.
Is their podcast. They're
working on it.
You guys are great. You guys are amazing. Yeah, I know that.
Heathen over here.
You guys know I talk about you guys all the time in great ways. No, so Tom and Ben host the Real Recovery podcast. They also run Rock Recovery Center. Mm-hmm. They're just such good guys. We hang out. I talk with them. They're so passionate and care so much about the people they work with. Like they go so out of their way, you guys, to help these people.
Well, because they both went through that. So
I mean, what a blessing they are to the people that they work with.
I imagine those are probably are all recovery centers ran by people that were ex-addicts before?
A lot of ex-addicts become.
I imagine. It's just like what we would see with people who lost weight, changed their life. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times become trainers.
Well, I mean, it's a tough job. Even with really successful rehab, facilities, there's going to be people who you spend a lot of time with that end up
They're
dying.
so personal, though, like in comparison to other experiences I've heard.
Bro, they talk to these people, they coach them. People even
they
pay
bring
them.
the whole family in. Like, they're really good.
No, Tom will text me
everybody.
sometimes, and he'll be like, "Hey, I'm talking to this woman. She found us through your show, and and he's like, would you mind making a video for her because she's a fan?" And then I'll talk to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I've been talking to her for weeks and trying to help her out." And I'm like, "Did she hire you guys?" And he's like, "No."
It's just weird to me. I don't know if you guys have seen, but there's like a documentary on like Bam Margera and also like Britney Spears and all this, and it's like. They go to this person that created some like virtual reality software to get them to like work on their recovery, and it's like
interesting.
Yeah, and again, there's like contention around it. It's like somewhat successful, somewhat not successful, but it's like to me, the way that they're handling it was so impersonal in comparison to like really getting to the root of it.
When I was hanging out with them, we were talking the spiritual component. And the success of people in rehab is so big. I mean, you guys know this, right?
Well, 12 Steps is based off of
it's Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they went through what it was based on. But, in many of those cases, there has to be a spiritual, a real strong spiritual component because you're dealing with something so powerful, so difficult. And the ones that have those conversions, oftentimes it's that. Yeah. That's what Ben experienced, but it's also what Tom kind of experienced, but just such great guys. Like it's really when you meet people like that really, really, really care about the people they're working with to the point where they go above and beyond. It's just
I shared an article with them. I don't think I shared it with you guys because I was talking to them also of just the the need for those places, I mean, it's a sad thing, but it's like we need them more than ever, and it's getting worse before it's getting better with just the rise in depression and suicide and alcoholism and drug abuse. Like, it's just, we're going the wrong direction when it comes to stuff like that. And so support groups and communities and people that are working to help that, I think, are just so important.
Speaking of addiction and stuff, man, the data on pornography and its effects on, you prompted this, right? Because you told me that, what's his name, reached out?
Yeah. I always say it Sathya or Sathya. How do I say it?
I think it's Satya.
Sathya?
Yeah. So, I just looked up more of the data on it. I think this is one of the most dangerous we underreport, or we kind of brush it under the rug, don't consider it to be like as bad as it actually is.
Bro, we don't just do that. We, like, a lot of like therapists encourage it for like couples and stuff like that.
That's terrible.
It's been encouraged.
That's terrible.
It's not.
Here's some of the data on this, because this is secular data. Okay, so I'm not speaking from a spiritual, religious standpoint. Just look at the data. The average age of exposure is now 9 to 13.
9 to 13. That was 14.
9 to 13. So think of the damage.
So young.
Think of the damage.
It's so accessible, dude.
The majority of men consume it weekly, with 60% of these men consuming it several times a week. Here's what the data shows. It is connected to depression, anxiety, overall lower mental well-being. Daily use was connected to higher scores on negative mental health measures, and emotional coping as a key driver. Another study showed that it was increased to increased loneliness, isolation, psychological difficulties. There are some people that experience hypersexual disorder from porn. Then in Europe, they were showing that it was that adolescent exposure was linked to higher rates of rule breaking, aggression, and mental health issues. It changes. Then there's brain and neurological changes. It changes. Did you guys know you can MRI a brain? And if someone's a heavy porn consumer, by the way, do you guys want to know what a heavy porn consumer is?
What, once a day or something?
More than several times a week.
Okay.
So daily user would be considered heavy.
Yeah.
They can MRI you and see changes in your brain, changes in the frontal cortex, changes in different reward centers of the brain. It literally changes how your body perceives reward. Meaning,
you become more impulsive.
Yeah, and it changes all reward. So these parts of the brain aren't just for the sexual novelty or the novelty stimulation you'll get from pornography. They're also associated with reward from doing other things.
Well, it's very aligned with your tip today with processed foods, because it's like the processed food version of sex.
Yes.
And it just becomes like this appetite for it's going to screw all that up. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very similar. Prefrontal
cortex erosion. So it literally shrinks the prefrontal cortex, which it changes
command center.
It's crazy. There was another study that showed that men experience greater declines in partner desire. It has a terrible effect on couples and relationships, dramatically increasing rates of infidelity and divorce. There used to be the belief that pornography would reduce things like sexual assault. Like, if we give men, with these desires more access. No, it actually increases it. It is bad. It is not good, and it's so accessible and so insane that this is a problem that we need to talk about. Yeah. It's a big one, and a lot of guys are like embarrassed to talk about it, I think, but more and more men.
I believe he's scheduled to come back on the show, isn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I'm not sure when though.
Yeah, I was talking to him, and it's been over a year since we had him, and so I was like, yeah, no, absolutely. I think that all the guys and I believe it's an important conversation, and I think a lot of people don't want to have it, and so I think it's important to at least talk about it, make more people and parents aware of it. I mean, I'm always trying to think of how I stay ahead of all that stuff. Like, and the only thing I can think of is
not giving your son a phone.
Delaying the tech thing for as long as I possibly can. Is not allowing him on stuff like that. Which is, I mean, I know it's a challenge because it's like so much of our world revolves around the internet and the use of that, but I'm hoping by the time my kid is up to your guys' age that we've changed the way some of that stuff is.
It's just going to get worse with AI. Is what's going to end up
happening. I think AI makes that worse.
Because all the safeguards they have now, I mean, it's pretty. There's some good software to combat it. Like even with clothing, they can target clothing and all kinds of stuff, but all that's going to get eroded with AI. Like it's going to override all that kind of stuff.
My hope with the rise of AI and it getting worse in that way is that my belief is in humans and culture. that, and I feel like the pendulum's coming back the other way, where like young men and in general are trying.
They're talking about it now.
Yeah,
as
they're
a
talking
problem.
about it. Where just 5 years ago or 10 years ago, it wasn't talked about at all. So we're becoming more aware of it. I mean, I feel like you see that was with my cousins up in Seattle. This one of the ones that are at homeschool and stuff, and some of the kids have already moved to flip phones. And so they're by choice. They're not being told they have to do it, but they're doing that because they know how addictive all the other stuff is. And so it's like, yes, of course, you want a phone for connection, but you can still pick up the phone and call somebody, and you can still do that. Like you don't need to get on Snapchat to communicate.
Well, I try to put myself back in the mindset that or just the body and mindset and hormones of when I was like 14. 15 years old. This was the mid 90s. We didn't have the internet. Pornography was way less accessible. You had to get a magazine. Yeah. And the only way to get a magazine
lots of barriers.
You'd have to either find one in a dumpster, or and this is true,
or you had a treehouse, like me.
And it was so inaccessible to the point where,
and it was the same still images over and over and over. It wasn't like
it wasn't highly insanely novel.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's what I mean. It's like if you were lucky enough as a teenage boy to get a hold of something like that, you had one. You had one magazine, and or like I think I had like a one page. You know what I'm saying? That was all folded up from like years of having it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, not a lot of novelty going on there.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy when you look at also the data on how pornography's changed over the last 10 years. It's gotten so much more extreme because so this is what happens with drugs, right? They'll introduce a drug and it's so strong. It's only so strong. And then the users need a stronger dose. And so we go from mild opioids to fentanyl, is where people end up.
Or just what kratom to 7-OH
or whatever.
Yeah, perfect example.
So with pornography, it went from like nudity to extreme to extreme to extreme to now crazy taboo, weird stuff that people continue to search for. And it's following literally the pattern of addiction and that dysfunction. And, I talked about this earlier today. I had a workout with Dennis as part of my series. And we were talking about like men, and the topic for me was like how the world really takes down men, or the verbiage I used was the enemy, but you could also just say the world. Think about young men, how their desire, going out to meet and talk to girls, like you had to like get your stuff together, you had to get your crap together. Mm-hmm. You had to like figure things out. You had to get rejected. You had to present yourself properly. You had to go through some challenges and be that zaps a 14-year-old's, desire to go out and kind of like develop these skills that you need as a man. And then you throw video games on top of it. Yeah. And now he's not going out trying to beat levels of the world. He's at home, trying to beat level 39 of whatever video game. So these men are just neutered is what ended up happening. Yeah. Totally neutered. I know. Crazy.
So unfortunate.
Anyway, I want to ask you, Justin, about, you were requesting something from PRX. Mm-hmm. Doug brought up the
Halo bars.
I want those.
Yes. Halo bars.
Yes, yeah. I was requesting them because originally, I wanted something that I could add volume, especially for pressing, and something that's like you could get a lot of concentric and less like demand on the eccentric portion of it with these rocker arms that are basically, it's kind of like a landmine, but it's like attached, so the anchor point's at the top of the cage, and you're pushing these arms out, and so you get like a rad press out of it.
Dude, what's dope is you can actually move the arms.
You can put the arms down.
Yeah, you put the arms down and do deadlift type stuff with it. You can do all kinds of explosive.
So there you go. You can even use it from that angle as well.
That's the best home gym equipment attachment I've ever seen.
I didn't realize how much they've been changing and upgrading stuff. That's like
and
super
for
high quality, cool.
Velocity training too. I mean, if you're doing anything with power, like you want something like that's like free flowing.
As I'm looking at it, right, for athletes, no brainer. I think you're breaking it down, Justin. For bodybuilders, Adam, set yourself up with a bench in front of that.
Yeah.
For incline presses,
so much you can do.
Or for shoulder presses, because of the angle and where the resistance is. At the bottom, it's easier. At the top, it's harder.
Yeah.
Which think of the shoulder pump you would get.
Well, I mean, I love too that they're independent and free, so you can it's contours to your body and
alternate too.
Dude, you put that on your home gym on your cage. You have a PRX cage with barbell dumbbells.
You can set it up like a Viking press too. The way we love the Viking. I mean, all of us.
Oh, we love that.
We're raving about Viking that press for the last couple of years on how much love that movement. We don't even need that anymore. We can use that.
I mean, I would use that every single day. So I wonder why we haven't. Did you ask for it?
I asked, yes. So
I sent a message
for it.
to I guess they were waiting for a video from us to finish, and so hopefully I can get that.
Yeah, I just shot a commercial for them already. So
did you really?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
I love it.
I'm curious how it's tough. There's not a lot of good margins in equipment, so it's not like a super profitable type of business. Now they've continued to grow and scale and do well, so it'd be interesting to see how they are, how much market
it's
share
the
they have.
most convenient thing you possibly do for your home.
I mean, have you guys? Okay, there used to be a time. There's a couple of brands that we've been working with for a very long time. That early on in the days, if I knew somebody used the brand, they were also a listener of mine. Like, oh, you listen to the show or like that. Viore was like that.
Right.
PRX was like that. It's no longer like that. I was just somewhere where somebody didn't know who the hell I was or anything, and they had a whole PRX set up inside their garage. I'm like, oh, PRX. Where'd you hear about that? And it was like, oh, they had heard somewhere else. It was like, oh, it had nothing to do with us. But that's how big they've grown that big to where like
I think commercial gyms should use their squat racks. To be honest with you, when they're folded out, they're more solid.
I have no idea why you wouldn't. But I mean, maybe a lot of people think like we thought originally. I really thought the standalone cage was better supported.
It's less supported.
Yeah, I know. But logically, it makes sense now because I understand how it use it. But I didn't think that way.
Well, even then, the ability to open the floor up. So if you're hosting an event or
That's right.
Whatever, it's like you want to give yourself options. Like that's fixed. Otherwise,
What's the value? Maybe you know this, Justin. There's two types of safety bars you can have on a cage. There's the
ropes.
hard ones,
or the ropes,
and then there's
and
the canvas ones.
Yeah.
Are the canvas ones like that because it's just
dropping?
Dropping
it just
it,
catches
to
it.
drop it.
so it's not like this clang.
Yeah, it's not a clang. I think it's more of a
You
noise thing.
drop some serious weight on the big. You drop serious
and it
weight
puts a
on
lot
the
of
ropes. It
pressure on
doesn't
the
even make that
arms.
much noise.
Yeah.
because it's like designed like
Yeah,
this.
it's soft.
So it's like you could drop 300 pounds on
just
that,
catches
and
it.
it just catches it. People hardly. I mean, it still make noise. It's not quite if it's a lot of weight, but man, you drop 300 plus pounds on those bars. The whole,
But I like the
whole
safety
gym
bars
turns around and comes asking
for
if
the
you're
yielding
right.
isometrics too. So like with the canvas is not very good for that.
No, yeah, yielding. I would use just a traditional. I would just use the rack and load it with more weight than I can.
Yeah, for that makes sense.
Yeah.
But for dropping weight, I think the straps have become more popular.
You know, the popularity of bumper plates. We saw that climb in our.
Yeah,
during
that
our
was
era.
just Olympic lifting.
Yes.
That's the only place you'd find it.
I never saw bumper plates. Now every gym uses bumper plates. But now I have a disdain for bumper plates. I don't like them. Unless you're going to drop the weight.
There's nostalgia for me in iron. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, dude. Like, you can't fit as many in the bar. They don't make any sound. It's like you put them together. It's
I
like,
feel like it doesn't really count. For
it
your
doesn't
PR.
count, dude. I
as
want the
much.
sound of
Me
the
saying
metal.
that I use bumper plates for my PR, but whatever.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, anything that's getting set on the ground, I'm using bumper plates, but everything else, I'm not. There's no way I'm squatting with bumper plates.
Unless you're going to dump it.
Even if I'm dumping it, the few times I just did dump it the other day, but
Did you really?
Yeah, I'm using iron. It's not impressive.
You knew I was going to ask you.
Yeah, let's not talk about what I dumped it over.
135.
No, it was like 185, or maybe it was 225. It was 2 plates or less for sure. And I thought I was going to get like 12, and I think it was at 8, and I felt that it was going to be rough. Now, where I'm at in my training right now, like I don't even mess around with grinding it out.
Yeah.
It's like if I feel my form's going to go off on something like that, I just dumped it.
You know what's crazy about squats? If you don't do squats for like 4 weeks, and then you go do 4 easy sets of squats, full range of motion, you're sore.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
It's always shocking to me.
immediate.
You just get sore
No, it doesn't.
every single time.
It does not take much. That's why it's such a good exercise.
I haven't done traditional barbell squats in a little while, but I did box squats the other day, and great replacement. It is a great replacement for traditional squats.
I'm not a fan, and I'm not a fan because so much of
You're
my
good at squatting. That's why.
I'm not. Thank you. I appreciate that you think that. I don't think that at all. But I know that how much benefit I got from working on my hip mobility and then getting to a deep squat.
You don't want to lose it.
I don't want to lose it. And what I have found, which is so cool, because I definitely feel like there was 2 years there where I labeled myself as the mobility guy. Like that's how I did that all the time. But now I've gotten to a point where I do very little mobility work, as long as I do movements like that
And maintain the full range.
maintain that. Whereas if I started shortening it up and doing box squats and everything like that, like
Dude, this is how bad my ego is. Like backing way off to focus on that, I just won't. and it's really frustrating.
So crazy to me too.
I'm
you
so
have, you
annoying.
have so much muscle.
It annoys me so bad. My own, just I don't know what do you want to call me. It just
You know what it
makes me
is?
so mad.
I'll tell you what it is. Is you were like I probably wouldn't have either had I not been in pain. My low back bothered me so much.
You were forced.
It annoyed me that I had this fit looking physique, but then I had chronic low back pain. It was like embarrassing, you know? And so that was a motivator. Had I not had that, and I'm like you, where you don't suffer from that, I probably would be in the same boat. But it was that.
Except for I don't sit on the floor with my kids.
It's
I bring
that.
up a
It's
chair.
that. What's that paradox I always bring up that I never know the name of? No one's ever going to remember this.
Beta region paradox.
Is that what it is?
Beta region paradox.
Yes.
Beta region?
Yeah. That's the where it's not bad enough.
Not quite far enough.
Not quite far enough to make you get in the car and drive, and so so it's
So
like
you take more time to.
yeah. So it's like
You want to know what I'm excited for coming up?
thank you, Dylan. Way to go. Remember
Yeah,
that.
good job over there,
I
bro.
know. It's
God,
it's like the 9th time I brought it up and didn't know the name.
He had it saved.
Yeah.
I have.
We'll bring it up again.
You guys know I have Father Steve coming in on Friday.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Flying in?
Oh, our buff priest.
Yeah, he's flying in. So
Working out with him or what?
yeah, so this is part of this. It's part of my series,
Yeah.
right? Which is just kind of like trying to tackle this idol of fitness, but really talk about my faith journey
like
while
church
we're
with
working
weights.
out. It's it's what it's becoming. I'm not
Holy lifting.
and I've said this before. I don't plan it, and that's on purpose. I'm not trying to let my pride get in the way because my pride is a MFer. Okay, it's really really strong. It'll
job,
get in the way.
Sal.
You're welcome. No bad words. But Father Steve was the first one that he was him, Bishop Barron, but really it was him. Arthur Brooks were the ones to kind of like open my heart a little bit to moving in that direction. Neither one of them preached or anything like. They were just such good people. And I remember when we met Father Steve, so when we went down to interview Bishop Barron, I don't know, was it 7 years ago?
Yeah.
And I remember when I first saw him, I was like, oh, he lifts.
Yeah.
I was like, what's up, dude?
Well, the
Works out?
staff. I mean, was it Joseph Galore or whatever?
Bro,
he was
huge.
huge too. Like I was like impressed because I growing up in the church, nobody was in shape, dude. I was always like potlucks and I'm like where's like nobody lift weights.
Yeah.
Do you think it was actually my family was we were talking about you because they're following your series, which by the way, I think it's incredible how well received that's been because I did not think it just super well received. It's doing better than any of our other series. It's been incredible. But my family was asking like, what was it for Sal? Now I said that I thought that Bishop Barron, Arthur Brooks were some of the most intelligent people that you ever heard talk about it. That's what I think. I think you needed somebody who you felt was at your level or more intelligent wise to intelligently break down spirituality, the Bible, all the things.
That was definitely a factor,
Yeah.
but it wasn't the first thing. The first thing, and I distinctly remember this, we went down there, which I don't even know why I was motivated to even want Bishop Barron on the show. I think it was divine intervention, but we went down there, and I remember when I came home, I told my wife this, I said, I don't know what it is about these people. I just want to be around them. I don't know what it is. They're just really good people. That's the best verbiage I had back then. They're good people. I just want to be around them. And then that opened me up. And then the intellectual aspect and their ability to explain things and the history and to break things down. And when I asked them a hard question, or at least what I thought was a hard question, they were able to
intelligently respond.
Yes, they were able to appeal to my the intellect, and that definitely played a role. But it was just being around them. And
so it was the aura that drew you to them first, and then the fact that they can intelligently.
Yeah, because had they
probably took all of that.
Had they immediately came at me and tried to preach to me, I would have shut off. But we were just with them, and they were just such just confident, but gentle, strong but soft. Just good. You could see how they interacted with other people, how they were with you. I felt zero ego. Oftentimes when you meet people for the first time, especially guys, especially if you work out, look, if anybody lifts, you know what this is like.
We've had a lot of experiences, interesting ones.
Especially if you lift. If you look like you lift and you meet another guy, initially there's this kind of like, oh, let's size each other up tight. It's kind of weird.
Peacocking.
Yes, and as an older guy now, I see it and it's a little annoying. There was none of that. It was like the most, they were just such great humility and just, I don't know, just great guys. And it turned me in that, in that direction a little bit. But he's coming on, so I'm excited because I'm going to work out with him. And then he's going to do, you guys know how to do that men's group, the Christian group? Yeah. He's going to teach it.
Oh, he's going to run it.
He's going to stick around. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And teach it. So,
that's nice.
Yeah, dude. So it's going to be really fun.
How's the daughter's going?
She's still going.
Yeah.
She's still going.
Was there as many kids again? I was so impressed with the amount.
Like 20 plus kids.
That is wild to me.
It's crazy.
That's a lot.
I know.
That's a lot of
It
kids.
is really-
Same kids mostly?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
this large group of kids that just
And
keep
different schools and everything. That's another thing that's so interesting
Yes,
to me.
dude. And they're all different, kind of different kids, different walks of life.
Now, do you resist trying to listen and be a part, or do you involve yourself at all?
You know, I'll ask questions when they were at my house.
Yeah.
I mean,
because sometimes they rotate to other
they
houses.
go to different houses.
Oh, okay.
So the different kids will host, and they'll go to different houses each time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, when they were at my house, of course, I was like,
Eavesdropping,
yeah,
is
here
that-
and there.
Yeah.
And and I kind of like, oh man, I shouldn't listen. I shouldn't eavesdrop or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just get emotional.
Is it? Do they share leadership, and like, does somebody else lead it every time, or is it like one main person?
Yeah, I don't want to talk too much. So I don't want these kids to put on whatever media. But there's typically there's this one kid that you can tell he's leading it.
Oh, okay.
And he seems to be the most spiritually mature, smart. And it's funny, you get a bunch of kids together. It tends to be like one person that facilitates or whatever.
Yeah.
But each person will read, and they'll all have prayer requests, and it's very communal. But there is a kid that seems to be the guy that is leading it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Before we started a little bit of a tournament, we didn't get a chance. I felt like I was starting to talk to you guys, and not hate, but I mean, we get going on the podcast, and I feel like there's still topics personally that I'm talking to you guys about, and I'm really, really interested in what we're going to see, and I really think it's in the next couple of years with AI. I was listening to someone talk about how it's going to disrupt the trucking industry, and I wasn't
self-driving trucks?
Yeah, I wasn't aware of just how many people that it employs. I mean, 7 million people across the United States are in the truck driving business. And I think Whammo is already here in the Bay Area, and you're seeing it all over the place, more and more people. And I actually think that the trucking thing is an easier thing to solve than actually self-driving cars people. So you may believe that self-driving cars, like a majority, is still a decade or more away. But I think we'll see things like shipping containers and stuff like that being driven by AI way before we even see all these driving people around.
The thing that'll get in
less
the way
risk.
will be regulation. Like they may do a regulation where they say it'll drive, but there has to be a live human in there in case something goes wrong or something like that.
Which defeats the purpose.
Who was that presidential candidate? He was running all based off of that, and like went to where the trucking industry in the Midwest, and was like really trying to talk about like UBI and all that.
I don't know.
You don't remember him?
Oh, that's interesting that you bring that up, because that was what this conversation was leading me to talk about, which is we had
Silicon Valley
discussed
tech guy.
UBI a long time ago, and I think thought that this was a very strong possibility. I really believe it's a strong possibility. I also think for other reasons too. I think that, and it's not something that I'm excited by any means. I just think it's one of the ways that Trump will try and make his run look so beneficial is if we pass something like that where the government has to infuse a ton of money, or we end up taxing a bunch, or we end up printing a bunch. I just think that's what ends up happening. And then of course people are going to celebrate it because it's free money, and so which will also drive everything up.
Yeah, it's universal basic income.
Andrew Yang. That's
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's right.
yeah.
He talked about it a long time ago.
Yeah, so I think that UBI will be a thing, not because I think it's necessarily a good thing, but the motivating factors will be strong.
Yeah.
When AI disrupts so many markets, which it'll be so disruptive, and we won't be able to adjust fast enough. And so you'll have this really strong political pressure to figure out a way to take care of people who are and
that you said something that's very key that I think is so important to unpack, because there's the other argument is that we've seen this with printing press, we've seen this with internet, we saw it with TV, we saw all these things and innovation always happens, and there's always jobs and I think we will see new jobs that we can't foresee,
right.
But I don't think it will outpace how fast
the speed is.
And I think that we're already seeing, look how fast AI is reproducing and improving, and how much more we just talked about the other day about how much content is being produced at the rate now versus what it was a decade, and then say printing press and computer days, right? It's accelerating at such a fast rate, and when something like this can get implemented and wipe out 7 million jobs overnight potentially, and we're by the way, we're only talking about one job right now, or one sector, it's going to disrupt it. I don't think that the innovation will be fast enough to create the amount of jobs, and I think that for the first time ever, we're going to be in a situation where it outpaces it significantly, and that will force a ton of people out of work with nothing to do, which I think is going to make such a strong case for UBI.
A lot of political pressure.
A ton of political
Especially
pressure.
when it's white collar.
Yeah.
You have a bunch of white collar workers out of jobs who can organize political campaigns. It'll be a strong motivating factor.
Well, and you also have a president who, wants to say the economy boomed because of him, and that'll be an easy segue for him to look like he's blowing the economy up because he drives everything up because the stock market runs, the real estate runs, all these things because once UBI comes, it'll just bring the floor up.
Yep.
If you take the bottom, say 10% or whatever it is, they automatically get a certain amount of money. It doesn't mean it necessarily gets better for everybody or that much. What it'll do is it'll naturally bring rents up, bring housing up, it'll bring everything up. And so, which can be, on face value, a president will run on that as success.
That's right. My fear around it is there's two. One is a lot of people will lose a sense of purpose when you're given kind of free money, and then a lot of people will use that to grow businesses and do other things, but a lot of people will probably just take that and that's it.
Of course.
The other one is that when you're taking money from the government, they now have the moral impetus to control people and control you. We already saw this with EBT, right? When they're like, you can't buy these, sugary drinks and these foods.
Yep.
And a lot of people are like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's free money. Now imagine everybody gets, UBI. And
those limitations keep happening. Though.
And we'll weave into that is some kind of a social credit system.
Yep.
Where now it's like, well, you can't spend it if you do this or you do that, and it'll feel right.
It's moving closer and closer to crypto as like a valid, form. So
I don't know.
Do you guys, if you guys were to, you're fresh out of college or you're a young teenage man right now and trying to find your way, right? What direction are you going? Like, what are you?
What would be a smart direction?
Yeah. Forget smart or not. It's like, what would, like, I think a lot about like, okay, I'm in this situation. Like, what's my strategy? What am I going to try and go learn, or what am I going to go focus on to have job security right now? I mean, just a few years, not even a decade ago, people would say, get into coding. It was like
gone.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Right. Like definitely don't. I mean, how crazy is that?
It's crazy.
10 years ago,
that was the thing to
do.
It
was go get your kid into coding because that he's going to have
forget about being a lawyer. Yeah, forget about these. Like, honestly, the trades are looking even more enticing these days. Like learning a real valuable skill that you can do with your hands. Like robots are going to take a while.
Yeah, the other one would be
so you do trade. So you would go
trades. Yeah,
I would go a job involving where you need to have like person to person interaction. So personal training, I think, will still be a great job because, in fact, I would predict that personal training, although it grows year over year faster than a lot of other segments of the economy, I think it's going to grow even faster when more and more people are going to need fitness, and you want a person.
Or being the AI consultant like you brought up the other time. That's where I would go.
Yeah. I just think there's 33 million businesses in the U.S. Of the 33 million, 30 million of them are like solo entrepreneurs or less than 5 or 10 employees, so small businesses.
They don't know how to use.
Yeah, and you just don't know. Like you're not Google, you're not Apple, you don't have the resources to build. And you hear some of these guys on the internet that are talking about, I lay off 10 people and I've got one AI that's doing the job. These people have the capital and sophistication to go out and implement something like that. The other 30 million entrepreneurs that are just them and 3 other employees don't have the time to learn all the AI stuff. But if you can come in as a young kid who understands that really well and all the bolt-ons to it, and then you can look at a business.
You're a consultant. They hire you to figure out.
Yeah, and what's great is that you could come in and you could position it in different ways. Either one, you come in and you go like, you have a fee that you charge, or for like e-commerce and businesses like that.
It's like the new website consultant.
Totally. Yeah. And you could attach yourself to the growth. You could come into a business like ours. And imagine the position to put us in right now. If you had someone came in that they saw our books, said, okay, this is what Mind Pump's been averaging for the last 5 years, and this is what your overhead has been employee-wise, this and this. I'm going to come in and I'm going to increase margins by this much, and I'm going to grow top line by this much. Don't pay me. Pay me a percentage of the growth. Like, would you say no?
Yeah.
Of course you wouldn't say no. It's like you're only asking a percentage, not asking all the growth, and you're going to only get paid if you grow or you increase those
like
margins.
a no-brainer.
It's like a no-brainer. Yeah, and it's very. I know just our own business where we're missing on those things like that we're trying to figure out ourselves. That if someone came in, stepped in, and saw all those holes and got paid that way, it would be so that opportunity is massive for the young kid that's already into kind of learning about AI, and then all those businesses that don't even realize how much they can be using it could be easily, and you could, like I said, leverage different ways.
Yeah, the warnings on AI for use among adolescents, teens, and as therapy are continuing to grow. I just read another article where it was Gemini, I think it was, where there was a watchdog group that's like, your safety features on this for kids are garbage. And some of these kids are going in there and developing relationships with these AI models, and they're getting induced into like psychosis or depression because they're so affirming, and it talks to you like a real person, but it's saying things like, yeah, you definitely, that makes sense, you should keep doing, type of deal. And they're finding that it's turning into problems.
That's no good. I've been meaning to bring this up in the last couple of weeks because I just looked at our Park City place. We have a lot of availability in that, and we don't talk about it that often. So if you haven't seen our Park City house that we have at Heber, it's right outside of Park City, like 6 miles, basically right there. In fact, you can even take a shuttle from the neighborhood over to the ski resorts and stuff. But a lot of stuff to do even in the summertime over there that's beautiful. And so if you've never...
And we've optimized it with like sauna,
well, winter's coming too.
Cold dip, red light.
Yeah, that house is so cool. So if it's all really, really nice. And so if you haven't looked at the mypumprentals.com, you can see that place. But I just looked. There's a lot of availability coming up in the next 30, 60 days. So if you're thinking about it, now's a good time to. And that right now is a lot less expensive than what it is in the winter. Wintertime, it's a highly popular place to go and high demand.
You need to compete with me because I'm going skiing.
And me too, right? Yeah. So we all want to get in there. So if you wanted to check that place out, and now's a good time to do it for a very reasonable price, and there's availability.
I'll go
so
sledding.
Check it out.
Over the last 10 years, Mind Pump has worked with a lot of companies that sell protein powders, and what I'm about to say is 100% true. The best tasting protein powder I've ever had in my entire life is Paleo Valley's grass-fed bone broth protein. Their chocolate tastes like chocolate donuts. I'm not making this up. It's delicious, super easy to digest. In fact, it's great for people with gut health issues. That's why it's one of the proteins that I use. Go check it out. Go to paleovalley.com/Mind Pump. On that link, you'll get 15% off. Back to the show. This segment of the podcast is brought to you by Mind Pump Fitness Coaching. This is the #1 course that teaches trainers and coaches how to build sustainable 6-figure plus businesses and careers in fitness. Look, it's roundtable based, so you can hear Adam, Justin, and myself teaching you how to build a better business, get more leads, close more deals, close bigger deals, and be more effective trainers. By the way, our course is nationally recognized. In fact, it gives you 1.9 CEUs with or for your NASM certification. Find out more at mindpumpfitnesscoaching.com.
First question is from Amelia Hartling. Could tempo being too slow have diminished returns? I go super slow because I want to ensure proper form, but my workouts take forever.
Yeah, so slow reps are okay until they're so slow that the reps become endurance and stamina building. So typically, you don't want your set to take longer than, let's say, 30 seconds. But if you're doing a really slow reps, like super slow motion training, and it's like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, you're now moving into endurance and no longer doing strength training.
Yeah.
And that's what you see with the...
It's a novel way to do it.
It is.
It's not necessarily beneficial long term.
I haven't brought it up on the show in a long time, but I used to have a fitness man. This was when I was just a trainer, so I'm 20. That was my fitness manager who used to train this way. Little rip jack guy, and
the skate shoes.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
it.
There's a little modality around that, right?
Yeah, and he did all. It was like just one long, slow set for every muscle group, and guy was in great shape. And I think if you're already in great shape and you do something like that to maintain. I think it is a safe, cool way to do it. But if you're looking for progress, you're going to be able to reap the benefits out of training that way for a short period of time, and then after that, you're going to need to move out of that.
Yeah, this got the super slow-mo training. You can actually look this up. This was a methodology that came about during, I want to say, World War II, when they were, what's it called when they limit your purchase of certain goods? What's that called? It's like rations. They were rationing iron, and because they needed them for the war effort. And so gyms, which there weren't a ton back then, but there were definitely, at that time, there were some places where there were gyms, and they couldn't get dumbbells heavier than 20 pounds or 30 pounds. And so they came up with this.
Is that really where that came from?
That's right.
I didn't know that. I actually thought it was more like the elderly, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And now again, if the set takes you longer than 30 seconds or so,
now it's endurance.
Now it's endurance, which is okay if that's what you want. But now you're not doing strength training. But if it's like a 30-second rep, then you're probably okay. Here's the other side of it, by the way, is that muscles learn how to contract fast or slow based off of your training. I run into this with my strength training. I don't do super slow motion reps. I do traditional reps.
Yeah, that'll affect function for sure.
You tell me to move fast. I did this the other day. Dylan was filming me. And back in the day, I used to do these pull-ups where I would do explosive pull-ups, where I'd pull myself up so fast I could jump off the bar, catch it, and come back down.
Rip yourself up.
So I was trying to get fast, and I hadn't done them in years. And I'm like, oh, Dylan, I'm going to go try.
Strain your lat?
Bro, no, I didn't get strained at all. I tried, and I'm strong in pull-ups. I could go rep out 20-plus reps. And I tried to do them fast. It was the slowest fast rep I've ever done in my life. I'm like, whoa, dude, I have no speed because I don't train.
Well, that's another jumping the other day.
I mean, that's another example of what we were just talking about the other day when I was bringing up my 40-yard dash thing and why I wouldn't do it. It's like, even though I could squat a bunch of weight and I can do all these exercises and deadlift, like sprinting is a whole different skill, and I don't train that. And it's like, that's a real recipe for getting hurt right there.
Yeah, so you train slow always. That's how good you are.
Then you move slow.
You're just you're good at moving slow.
Next question is from Jamie Yoska. Can certain rep ranges stimulate the appetite more? Ever since I started training in the 4 to 6 rep range, I've been so hungry.
I don't have any studies on this.
Very common.
But this rep range, low rep ranges, they do.
Do you think it? Okay.
I don't know why.
I would debate that, and my argument would be
though.
It's more novelty that stimulates.
Could be, right?
Yeah,
it sounds like a woman. She probably never trains. In that rep range.
Yes,
it could be, but
because I bet you if you took the power lifter guy who's been lifting 3 to 5 reps forever, and all of a sudden you put him on a superset training program
or 15 reps even.
Yeah, 15 rep program all the time, he would feel his appetite go up.
You know what? That's a great point, Adam. Is that
or he just want to go to sleep?
This is a good. It's actually a good sign. Now there's appetite that comes from cravings when you're overtrained and stressed out, which is different. But if you're training and you're getting stronger and your appetite's going up, great sign.
Feed it.
Great sign. It means you are building and you're moving in the right direction. But yeah, I noticed this with MAPS anabolic phase 1. I would have people going to phase 1.
Yeah.
And they'd all be like, I'm like really hungry.
And I noticed that with anabolic too, but I think that's because a lot of people neglect that rep range.
That's right.
Yeah. And I think it would
I would agree.
Yeah. So I think it's more novelty and you're feeling your body wanting to build muscle. And so that has more to do with the novelty of that than it is the actual rep range, in my opinion.
All right, real quick, if you love us like we love you, why not show it by rocking one of our shirts, hats, mugs, or training gear over at mypumpstore.com. I'm talking right now. Hit pause, head on over to mypumpstore.com. That's it. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Next question is from Kennedy Liz. How do you know when it's the right time for a deficit? I'm getting stronger and building muscle, but I'd like to lose some fat so I can see more muscle. I'm struggling with what my goal should be right now.
You got to be in a place calorically where you could drop from and then that's sustainable. That's how you know, like, this is a good place to do a cut, right?
Yeah.
So
almost uncomfortable amount of food that you're eating.
Well, I mean, you don't want to be like, I'm building, I'm eating 2,000 calories, so now I'm going to go in a cut to 1,500 calories.
Yeah.
And then this is where you're going to kind of be at. That's not really a good place to be. I like to see people higher, so when they cut, they're in a sustainable
makes it easier.
caloric
I mean,
range.
and
that's general
to
advice.
your point, a general good generic number to kind of look at is like you should be able to cut 500 calories from your diet and you're happy and satisfied with that calorie intake and you could maintain it for a long time.
Yeah, you're not
That's
miserable.
a good rule of thumb.
Yeah, just a good generic place is like, hey, can I take 500 off the calories I'm eating right now, and can I imagine myself eating that way?
I'd like to ask you a specific question, Adam, because you competed. Now, this is obviously another level, right? So you're trying to get on stage, 2% body fat, the whole deal. How low did your calories get towards the end of?
2,500 was stage.
That was the lowest.
The lowest.
And that was like you're about to walk on. That's like unhealthy.
That was me pushing. Pushing was sometimes I didn't even have to get down to 2,500.
Wow.
But 2,500, maybe I flirted a couple days with like 2,300. Never even touched 2,000. I was always 23 to 2,500.
And how high did your calories get?
5,500 to 60.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
Now, how high was your body fat? Because you never let yourself really get.
Yeah, and I was peak pro, biggest, heaviest, highest calorie. I was probably around 12% body fat on the high end, and I was eating close to 6,000 calories, so 5,500 or so.
Wow! And then
there.
you would cut,
and then I would cut all the way down, and that when I was that high, cutting was the lowest would be like 3,000.
Wow.
So when I say 2,300 to 2,500, that was when I was going like to USA's and I was smaller. I hit USA's at 203. So imagine I've been on stage at 203 to as much as 220.
Okay.
So at the smaller version of me at 203 came down to like 23 to 2,500 was my absolute low. And I was probably up like 4,000 to 4,500.
And again, just to put it in context, 2,500 calories, you're hitting the stage at like what? 2% body fat?
Yeah, 3% is what I probably hit stage for USA's. Right
so just so people understand, like, and now it's extreme. We're not talking about typical person losing body fat to be healthy.
Which is why you hear me jump on people right away when I hear where their calories are at. It's like you don't need to be. And more realistic for the average person to understand is I always like using Melissa. She was the last person that I trained for stage.
And she's what,
5'1" or 5? She's less than 5'3". She's 5'3" or less. I can't remember. She's shorter. And when she first hired me, she was eating about 2,100, 2,200 to kind of maintain. And she wasn't at stage body fat. She was like, she was a softer version of her. She wasn't overweight or anything like that. But we got all the way up to over 3,000 calories. And then I cut her from 3,000 something, cutting it like we always talk about, 200, 300 or so. And she hit stage at what her maintenance was when she hired me.
Wow.
Yeah. So she hit stage.
What was her body fat?
Oh, she was down into single digits. She got
no way.
Yeah,
9-10%.
Yeah,
which is
she
crazy.
she was ripped when she hit stage. So she carries herself in probably the mid-teens year round now. But yeah, no, we ramped her metabolism, and that was a healthy, decent calorie amount for a female and small. That I worked all the way up over 3,000, and then she brought her down.
Yeah, I mean, if you're eating, 1,300, 1,400 calories, or if you're a man, 1,800 calories, 2,000 calories, and you're doing workouts like crazy, and you step in and whatever, and you have another 20 pounds of body fat, you're not getting to 3% body fat. You're just trying to get down to 15% or 16%, which is healthy body fat, and you're already there. You got nowhere to go. You got to reverse and get the calories up. So that's really the best way to decide. Like, is it time for a deficit? Are you in a place where you can cut and be okay?
Yep.
Next question is from Wall-E. How do you program for a client who only wants to meet once or twice a week for 30-minute sessions? I feel like it's hard to be productive in that short amount of time.
I had lots of clients like this.
Yeah.
I had lots of clients like this. You know what it looks like? Aside from encouraging them to be active on their own, which typically looks like walking, maybe the occasional exercise at home, you're doing 2 exercises, 3 exercises.
You can do 3. You do about 3 because our MAPS 20 is MAPS 15, which is like MAPS 20 advanced is 2 exercises. You can get 3 exercises, 3 big exercises.
Compound exercises.
Yeah, 3. Yeah. I would do 3 compound lifts each time. So I had 3 compound lifts.
And you're getting great results.
Yeah, and you'll build actually a very solid fit. I think people would be surprised. In fact, a lot of people probably
Because people do it so wrong, they don't realize that they don't have to do.
Where you're not going to see great results if you're doing tricep push downs and bicep curls of your 2 or 3. Like you're doing squats, deads, overhead
even
press,
hit all the body parts
rows.
with 30
Yeah, you're
minutes.
doing 2 to 3 big compound lifts for 4 sets. Let's say 3 to 4 sets of each of those, 2 times a week. And just sticking to that and working on getting strong. And you will absolutely build a great physique.
Just so people know, my typical workout these days, and I'm doing way more than what they're saying, is about 40 to 45 minutes. And that's it. It's not a lot.
Yeah.
You don't need much if it's done properly. But for the average person, This is actually not just good. This for many people it's ideal. I had clients like this. Now they would meet with me for an hour because I didn't sell 30-minute sessions, but the workout was 30 minutes.
Yeah.
The rest of the time was like stretching, mobility, talking about diet,
consulting,
nutrition.
diet,
yeah.
And they got phenomenal results. So that's how you organize it. You do 2 or 3 compound lifts. Focus on getting them stronger with those. Don't focus on other fluff, and you're good. All right, I know you liked that episode. If you did, check this one out. 30% body fat. For men, this is way too high. This is actually a bit high for women as well. So in today's episode, we're talking about how you can go from 30 to 10. What is 10% body fat? This is when you have a visible six-pack. Can you go from 30 to 10%? Yes, it's possible, but not if you guess along the way. So we're going to talk about how you can do that in today's episode.
Now, there's a huge range, right, of like body types.
Yes.
Some people can run a little bit heavier or a little bit higher body.